Yeah. Still can't get it right. Oh my god. Yeah, man. Wow. And I'm rocking the red shirt. What happened here? Holy cow. Oh man, I must be on the off day of laundry time cycle. The laundry cycle, right? I think so. Well, I'm planning on going on this trip here a couple days, so gonna miss the Sunday show. And Mike, the DJ Rodfather himself, busy these days, too busy to rock and roll on the Tuesday evening. So I felt like, you know what, I'm not gonna be here Sunday. I got time to kill. Just had some tacos. It is Tuesday. You guessed it. I'm hungry for more. And so here I am, right? Red shirt and all. It's kind of mind blowing, actually. I might have to change during some sort of segment here, or maybe I'll even just hit the restart, the refresh to be fresh, if you will. It doesn't jive with the whole, what is this? The background, and I don't even have Mike Tyson up yet. Let me do this real quick. I'm going to rock this out. We're going to go to the music. We're going to go to the opening screen, and I'm going to update. We're going to refresh to be fresh. Yeah, I think I pulled it off there. All right. Whoa, that was a refresh to be fresh with the intro, the double intro. Very nice, very nice. Well, we're here -1. That's right. I had nothing to do tonight, I'll be honest. Usually I gear the whole day and Monday. So it's like a Monday process. That's more of a Sunday night process. Sunday we do the gig. We hit it for about 2 hours. I prep all weekend for the show, typically, which is crazy when you think about it, because I prep all weekend for the show. I put together a docket. I got all these clips. We get to about 4 of the 12 clips I typically put on the docket each show. Carry them over. They drop off as the weeks go by, because we live in this blitzkrieg news cycle where, who can keep up, actually? Even today, Trump had one of his hilarious minion cabinet meetings where they all, stand up and pledge their allegiance to the dear leader and, tell Trump how big and beautiful everything about him is, his bill, his cabinet, his White House, America, everything. It's really hilarious. It's actually just refreshing, because the last 4 years, we had no idea who was actually running the show. There was like 25 different people in charge of the auto pen machine, signing off all the bills and executive orders for Biden. But, we never really saw anybody in the cabinet actually like interacting with Biden in like a professional level. So, it's kind of fun to see. And Trump, he's a showman, so he's got to do everything apprentice style. And is there anything more apprentice than you got the big table and Trump is sitting there and the cameras everywhere, and they just go down the line, and each person, Tulsi and RFK, Hedgeseth, they all got to kind of one by one talk about their hits and misses, the pros and cons of what they've been doing. It's nice. So we had that going on today. That's news in of itself. And this is something that would have easily slipped by Mike and myself any day, only because there's just, like I said, too much going on all the time. And today's meeting was actually pretty cool, just because, they're planting the seeds. That's what they seem to do all the time, these cabinet members in Trump's organization. They never actually really come through on a lot. Sans RFK. RFK is actually kind of pulling the lever on some things, and his announcement was the most exciting. He kind of alluded, well, no, he didn't allude to, he straight up said, hey, I made that promise for September. I'm going to make a big announcement. It's going to have something to do with the vaccines. We might be discussing how the vaccines play into the spectrum autism thing that's going on. And so that, to me, not a lot of talk. I actually think RFK's been, kind of building up this case over the last few months. And here we are. September is essentially upon us. And so we're going to have this big reveal. Paul Offit and all the nut jobs that used to be a part of the CDC and the NIH and basically all the Fauci fanatics who've been kicked to the curb now, they're trying to save their ass, and they're actually going out there on podcasts and interviews on MSNBC and CNN, and they're out there saying, look, it's going to be the aluminum, all right? We have a good idea that what you're going to find there is that this aluminum happens to be in the vaccines, also kind of happens to be in the chemtrails we're spraying on top of you, but the aluminum might be in the vaccines. And maybe, just maybe, this announcement from RFK will be about the aluminum in the vaccines, maybe causing some autism here and there. Maybe. So that's an exciting element to the Trump cabinet meeting that he had. And again, it's the show. I love the show, the cameras, the lights, the flattery. It's really hilarious. And then you had Tulsi Gabbard and Pam Bondi and all these other people continuing on with all the hoopla, how there's going to be, DOJ investigations and subpoenas. Now, I've been following a little bit of kind of the fallout from the recent FBI raid that went down with Mustache Moriarty. What was that guy's name with the push broom thing? John Bolton. Apparently there's a lot of meat on that bone, and I'm getting a lot of this from, Alex Jones and his interview with Roger Stone, but they're claiming that this is the real deal, and we're actually going to kind of witness some of that like QAnon stuff. I'm not a big Q guy, and I still partly believe it was a CIA thing, although I know a lot of the Q stuff has come to fruition, and there seems to be some element of the Q predictions with, the deep state being brought down, tribunals in Guantanamo Bay. Maybe that's a thing, maybe, but realistically, I think what we're going to see are like Brennan and kind of the smaller players around Obama during that transition period where he basically told the CIA, I know there's no evidence that Trump was colluding with Russia. Find me and or make up some evidence and then claim to have found said evidence that you made up, so that way we could go and push this whole P-tape dossier Russian collusion hoax for 4 years, derail this guy's presidency. Then at the last minute, when it looks like we still don't have a chance to outright steal the presidency back in 2020, unleash COVID! And then, that's how the whole thing kind of played out, as we all recall. So, there's a lot of possibility that some people actually go to jail, or we get some, court-like tribunal kind of things, hopefully televised. This is Trump, so you would assume it would be televised. The perp walk, the court jury session, right? The conviction. I assume when we're talking treason and all that, you're going to go down the route that's hanging, right? Isn't that what you do with the whole treason thing? So we see, this could be an exciting times ahead for us. I've always argued back in the day, this is like 10, 15 years ago, when reality TV was just all the rage and everything was reality TV. Right before streaming became a thing, it was all reality TV. I always believed that we were seconds away from Running Man, some element of we're taking criminals, we're going to put them out of there against these gladiators, and they're going to battle to the death. And, we'll see what happens. Maybe you'll get your freedom. They never do. We all know the story of Running Man. It was all a scam until Arnold came along and saved the day. But it'd be cool to get a little Running Man action out of this. Maybe, let's not do the hanging. That's a little barbaric. That's a little too old school. We're in the modern era. It's 2025. Let's give them a chance to survive, right? toss them out in the field with the guy with the chainsaw or the ice pick dude and, battle it out. I wouldn't mind seeing, Hillary Clinton out there, fisticuffs and beating down on some gladiator and or vice versa, right? It'd be fun times had by all, I can only imagine. No fun times here in Colorado, though. Not gonna lie, we are getting brutalized and battered by the endless, nonstop geoengineering that has been occurring in the skies above the Front Range. For anyone who's been living in the east side of the state of Colorado, it has been pretty much endless overcast for what seems like eternity. I would argue we've had some element of cloudage every single day, but as you can see, and I love going to these satellite images, you get a great shot of everything, real time, HD, high quality, right? So that's today, and I did this with Mike a few weeks back. People might recall that was yesterday. Not much of a difference. Oh, there you go. That was Sunday. Is that right? What's today? Tuesday? Monday? Sunday? I think we had some... Oh, no, okay. Saturday. All right, I was wrong. And maybe it looks a little sunnier there, sort of. A little break. There we go. When the sun goes down, that's when they turn off the heart machine, right? And so it's pretty much... It's clouds every day for the last 5 or 6 days. I'm the old man yelling at the clouds as per usual. Brutal here, though. They dropped the temperature 20 degrees below the average, and anytime the clouds would part, even just momentarily, you would see those suckers blasting right overhead, man. Just big, thick, fat old chemtrails. And then sure enough, the little gap would close up and no sunshine for the rest of us. Now, I know the argument has been made, maybe I have been partaking in a little too much sun exposure or enjoying the summertime, if you will, but I only do it because of what you just saw. We have these stretches here in Colorado, here in Denver specifically, where it's just 5 days of overcast in the summer. This used to not be a thing ever, actually. So I would argue this recently started within the last 4 years, 2021, 2022. That's when I really started honing in on the sky just getting obliterated by chemtrails. They've toned down the chemtrails this year. Doesn't mean they're not messing with the sky. Now, you saw the screen there. I just gave a nice little view of the several days of just endless overcast during the daytime. 3 mornings in a row, I get up early, 4:30-ish, 4 o'clock. I'm on the road by 5:30, heading to work. And what do I see for 3 days in a row in August in Colorado? Killer fog! Nobody's dead yet, all right? I know nobody has died yet that I could tell, but, a couple people called out of work sick today, or the last couple days. Generally speaking, I've noticed low energy from everyone around me. It doesn't seem like people are feeling that summer vibe here in the dog days of August. Typically here, we're, it's at 26th of August, we should be on our, 3rd week in a row of 90-degree heat, endless blistering sunshine, just constant sweating. The AC is almost burnt out because it's been running nonstop for the last month. No, none of that. Barely any AC this year, to be totally honest. We've had one day at 100 degrees back in July, right around July 11th or 12th, I want to say. It was the first week or two. Everything changed here July 16th. Specifically July 16th. You could look on the calendar. It's just clear that the temperature dropped a solid 10 degrees pretty much permanently. We've yet to go back to average, essentially. Maybe we had 3 or 4 days there earlier in August in the upper 90s, but they crushed us with clouds, killer fogs, chemtrails, some combination of the three, the solar radiation management, all of that stuff. The Bill Gates balloons that pop the dust clouds into the atmosphere and spread it all along the Front Range. That's what we've been getting nonstop, I would argue, since July 16th. And you can go onto the satellites, you could check it out, you could see it for yourself. And the only reason I know for a fact it's July 16th is because, like I said on the calendar, those 2 or 3 weeks in July, right up to the 16th, were basically normal summer, man. I mean, I'm not saying we didn't have clouds. You could have clouds. It's a thing. Clouds are real. They exist all the time. But constant overcast in the middle of July and August and killer fog sweeping through the city every 2 weeks seems a little bit on schedule. And also it seems like they ramped it up in the second half of July. And I can only imagine why. It's because on July 15th, you guessed it, H.R. 4403 to prohibit weather modification within the United States and for other purposes. Oh yeah! My favorite MTG, Marjorie Taylor Greene, introduced this bad boy on July 15th. And sure enough, here we are, a month and a half later, endless geoengineering in the skies of Colorado. We also had that super hurricane that was unleashed in the East Coast there a couple weeks ago. Was it last week? I feel like it was last week. And that bad boy, I know a lot of people were saying there was some element of manipulation, that it was tracking one direction and then turned right, or it did something. It moved on some level. From what I recall. We have the ability to, control the hurricanes. We can, I've argued, I think it's a joystick. I know there's a lot of naysayers out there. I think that's a little silly, but I'm willing to bet it's probably as simple as a little joystick or two. Maybe you need to push the heat from one HARP device in the Gulf over here, right? And you push the heat there, and then you get the cold from the other HARP device. Well, that doesn't make a lot of sense, but it's frequencies. We're talking frequencies. You blast the frequency one way, and then you blast it the other way coming at you. You get the little spin cycle thing. Either way, and I can't find it. I had someone sent me a while back. I think it was a hurricane. It was classified, or not classified. It was a patent, actually, if I recall correctly, a patent for creating hurricanes. And so I feel as if I've shown it on here before, but they got these devices, they have patents for these devices to manipulate hurricanes and tornadoes, and this is 60 years ago they had these patents put in place. So, I don't think it's outrageous to think that maybe there's something going on there with the manipulation of the weather all the time, and that's why I like to bring it up constantly, because I'm here stuck in the eye of the storm, if you will. Well, one of the storms. Apparently, there was an outrageous dust storm that swept through Phoenix, if I'm not mistaken. I think this was in Arizona somewhere out there. But this is a pretty crazy shot. And I'm gonna blame Bill Gates for this, only because it seems appropriate. We typically go down the road of blaming Bill Gates for any kind of fantastical phenomena that we might see occurring anywhere weather-wise, well, look at this thing. It's a massive wall of dust. I assume this happens all the time. It's not probably the first time this has happened. Otherwise, it would have probably been a little bit newsworthy. But my guess is somewhere in there is an army of mRNA-infused mosquitoes ready to just pounce on all the unsuspecting homeowners and dwellers of the Phoenix area there. So watch out, people. There's something mRNA involved here with this dust storm. I guarantee it, man. This says Bill Gates written all over it. Well, outside of all that, in reality, you could listen to nut jobs like myself talk about how the clouds are created or manipulated or we have killer fogs that aren't killing anyone, or that we have government patents to manipulate and control hurricanes. Or you could ignore everything I'm saying and listen to Lee Zeldin, the guy running the EPA right now, who kickstarted that website on the EPA, or I guess the section of the EPA website where they go in depth on geoengineering, weather modification. They're huge on giving you all the links you could possibly imagine needing as far as government contracts and bills that were signed by Congress in 2021 and executive orders signed by Biden. The whole thing's a money grab. It's all about making bucks for the green movement. But Zeldin's doing the moves. He's shaking around on all the podcasts, and he was on Glenn Beck's show giving a little lowdown on what's going on with the geoengineering and weather modification.
So when I first got confirmed, I sat down here at the agency with people and told them everything that I can know, everything that this agency knows about these topics, I want us to communicate with the public. Everything that I know as the EPA administrator should be communicated transparently with the American public, whatever the answer is, wherever the facts lie. We posted last month on the EPA website, epa.gov/geoengineering, a lot of the answers I received on this topic. And there has been government funding that's gone towards some of these efforts. There are entities and people who would want to drastically scale these activities up. I agree with you with your concern just with the idea of playing God. The solar radiation modification, stratospheric aerosol injection.
It's hard for me to even say, Lee, don't you worry, big guy. I think they purposely made these words outrageous just to make it difficult for the tinfoil hat nutjobs to share on their conspiracy websites and podcasts. You know, it's impossible to constantly say stratospheric aerosol injection, geoengineering. I mean, it's impossible to even type it and fit it into like 270 characters on a tweet. So they did this on purpose. They knew eventually we'd catch on to them blocking the sun like Mr. Burns, so they knew they had to give these techniques names that were impossible to spell and almost even more impossible to pronounce.
Marine cloud brightening. There are these activities to make changes to the stratosphere or the lower atmosphere and try to deflect sun rays from hitting the Earth to instead send it back into space. And in the case of stratospheric aerosol injection, you're talking about putting sulfur dioxide, a lot of it, for a long time, into the upper atmosphere, which, by the way, turns into acid rain. There are...
Excuse me?
Wait a second. If I'm to understand this correctly, when I was a younger fella, back in my school days, we were told that our actions as human polluters were going to lead to a future where we would have to hide and seek shelter from acid rain because of all the pollution we were pumping in and the aerosol, the stuff for the hair. Remember the aerosol, the hairspray, right? We had to get rid of the hairsprays and more emissions tests, everything. We had to change everything about our lives because human activity was going to cause the acid rain. But now you're telling me it's the geoengineering that's causing the acid rain. All right.
It for a long time into the upper atmosphere, which, by the way, turns into acid rain. There are real health concerns with regards to these activities. And it's not like, it's thoroughly studied, it's approved, it's trusted, it's vetted. Instead, you have people who just want to do it on their own, like try to get themselves, someone to hand over $1 billion to just go dump a whole bunch of sulfur dioxide into the stratosphere. And no, that doesn't sound good. It doesn't sound right, and it shouldn't happen.
No.
All right, man. I couldn't agree more. It doesn't sound right at all. It sounds actually kind of disgusting. And Eagle-eyed sleuths like myself have been talking about it for years to much ridicule, but now we finally have government officials in the cabinet of the White House openly discussing it and sharing the same disgust as the rest of us. And then on top of it all, July 15th, we had MTG introduce the bill, HR 4405, if I remember. Did I say that right? 4403. To end the weather modification in geoengineering, which, of course, isn't being talked about or discussed or wagered or whatever they do in the House because they went on an early recess for summer because they claim they didn't want to have to discuss the Jeffrey Epstein docket. They were going to release information. They didn't want to do anything with Jeffrey Epstein, so they say. I claim they went to early recess because they didn't want to have to deal with the truth about geoengineering, but we'll give the truthers of the Epstein world their heyday and moment with this whole excuse. So when they come back, I think it's September, a week from now, 2 weeks from now, hopefully we get a little action on the passing of the HHR 4403 weather modification ban bill. It would be nice just to have some normal weather. Here in Colorado, we haven't seen 2 days in a row of sunshine. It just feels nice to have 2 days in a row sunshine, right? No clouds, no overcast, no planes spraying aluminum or silver iodide or barium or whatever else crap they're spraying on us. I'm sure there's worse things in it that we don't know about yet that we'll someday find out. We always find out way down the ways what they actually poisoned us with. It's when we start seeing, all the health issues crop up and people complaining about it. You get the lawsuits, and then eventually we get our way. All right, man. Well, I wanted to make sure I got something in on the weather modification, only because that is my main obsession. I could go through all the pictures in my phone. My God, I have so many pictures of chemtrails and videos of these guys spraying crap out their tails. Someday it'll end, hopefully, right? I know a lot of people out there, though, typically have alluded towards the spraying of the atmosphere, like the spraying of the particulates in the atmosphere, being for a more nefarious reason. One involving lasers and holographic technology. And I do think that, there's something there. I believe in the fact that in our modern age, especially, maybe this is a truth for all entertainment, pop culture, as far as we've been around, but it does seem like they're always kind of preconditioning us for whatever it is that the Club of Rome and Committee of 300 has planned for society. We have a cousin or an uncle or a cousin uncle out there who, for a long time, this is about a decade ago maybe, would say, hey, I think they're making all these alien movies like Independence Day. Maybe this is 20 years ago. I might be dating myself here. But, there was a nice stretch there where we were just inundated with alien flicks like Independence Day. And how, he believed that they were showing it to us in order to get us ready for the real deal when it pops up into the sky. And I actually am a firm believer in that. I could definitely see the powers that be using internet and movies and music and TikTok and everything else to precondition us and get us ready, geared up to not freak out when the gigantic mothership appears over, New York City, right? They want us to be calm and collected and cool. And so that's why talk of this asteroid, the intergalactic kegger that's been zooming over here for the last couple months, or we found it, a year ago or a few months ago. Now we're really kind of excited about it because of its trajectory, and it's gonna, sneak in right around Jupiter and Mars and right around the sun, and it's showing up in our neighborhood in the solar system Halloween, which is, I don't know, I think that's a little too on the nose. I feel like there's, if I was an alien, I would kind of, well, maybe, well, let's say this. If I was going to do a Project Bluebeam, right, I'd time it for Christmas. Jesus, back on his birthday, baby, right? But I think that Halloween seems a little bit better. It's spookier. It's cold, but not too cold, so people will be outside. The downtown areas will be hopping for the Halloween weekend. Everyone will be dressed up. The sluts will be out. It'll be, a great time. People be drunk, distracted. Boom, alien spaceship over Manhattan, right? Just like Independence Day. Well, this guy, we've seen this dude a few times. He's been popping in and out of News Nation. He's the Harvard scientist or astrophysicist. I think his name is Avi Loeb, if I'm not mistaken. We played a clip of his from not too long ago, but he is back again, and he's doubling down on the intergalactic kegger, almost definitely now, potentially allegedly being maybe a spaceship of aliens or an alien probe or something nefarious here to destroy us all. That's where this guy's coming from. This, in my book, is a lead up to something more spectacular, but let's get down and dirty with this fantastical information.
What if an interstellar object whirling through our solar system is actually a nuclear-powered spacecraft sent by aliens to test how humans respond?
That's a very specific hypothesis, but I like it. I'm here for it.
That's what a noted astrophysicist believes might be the case, and he says an image from the Hubble telescope backs him up. Most scientists agree that the so-called Three-Eye Atlas is a comet from another solar system. But Harvard scientist Avi Loeb claimed on this show a couple of weeks ago that it could actually be some type of alien technology. Now, that's a controversial opinion all on its own. But he's now going a step further, arguing that the Three-Eye Atlas could be a nuclear-powered alien spacecraft. Loeb says the Hubble picture appears to show the object emitting its own light. The object also appears to lack something that all comets have in common, and that's a tail. So what is this thing exactly? Well, joining us now is Avi Loeb. He's the head of the Galileo Project, director of Harvard University's Institute for Theory and Computation. He's also the best-selling author of the book Extraterrestrial. Great to have you back on the show. So you now say this is not only an alien spaceship, but it's nuclear powered? Why are you saying that?
Well, thanks for having me. First, I should say that if the light that we observe from this object is reflection of sunlight, its size needs to be bigger than Manhattan Island, 20 kilometers or so. And there isn't enough rocky material in interstellar space to deliver a rock of that size earlier than 10,000 years from now. So the question is, what is it? And its orbit, the trajectory that it takes, is aligned with the plane of the planets around the sun to within 5 degrees. That's a chance of 1 in 500. And moreover, the timing.
What does that tell you? What does that trajectory tell you?
Well, it indicates that perhaps it was designed by some intelligence.
That's something steering it.
Not necessarily, but the trajectory itself was chosen to be such that this object will pass close to Mars, Venus, and Jupiter. The chance of that happening, the timing of its arrival is perfect for that, with a likelihood of 1 in 20,000. And so I'm just saying we should observe it. It doesn't look like it's a random occurrence. The size, the trajectory, the fact that it comes so close to 3 planets in our solar system, and actually it comes closest to the sun on October 29th, when the Earth would be on the other side of the sun. We won't be able to observe it. I'm analyzing right now the best image we have of it. We don't have any evidence for gas around it in the spectrum that was taken, but we do see some fuzz, some halo of scattered light around it in front of it.
We're looking at the image now. What does that tell you, that halo of light around it?
Right. So usually for comets, you see a cometary tail trailing the objects from behind because it's being pushed by the radiation from the sun. The dust particles are pushed to be behind, to lag behind the object. In this case, what we are seeing is a glow in front of the object. And
I think it's a disco ball. Haven't we been clear enough, folks? This is an intergalactic kegger. Come on, man. It's a party. Yeah. They're bringing the strobe lights. Intergalactic strobe lights, man. All right. I think that's all I got for that clip. He rambles. He's speculating. This dude is out there because he's the lone nut job. You need the one lone nut job. All these alien sci-fi movies start with the lone wacky dude, nut job, scientist freak who's got the disheveled hair and he's unshaven and sweaty and stains on the shirt and the shirt's not tucked in or maybe half of it's tucked in, and he's just all over the place and he's frantic because he's the only one who sees the proof, like, this thing's gonna kill us all, or it's an alien, or something, and nobody believes him. We mock him, we make fun of him, we laugh it off, and then forget about it. And then, October 29th, Independence Day, spaceship over Manhattan, we get nuked to smithereens. I think that's what's gonna happen here. If Hollywood has taught us anything, it's that we should be believing the lone nut job who everybody's mocking and making fun of. This is the guy with the real answer, right? Maybe? Yeah? No? All right. Probably not. I'll do it for Mike. Yeah, that's right. Oh, man. Well, the reason I love this story so much is because I just think this guy is stoking all the energy needed. Maybe not stoking. He's getting the boil going. There's a little bubbly happening here for Project Bluebeam. Project Bluebeam, one of my favorite conspiracies. If you do a little digging on it, they claim this goes back to some French novelist, Serge Monast, I think is his name. I've only really heard, honestly, like Alex Jones talk about Project Bluebeam and various other conspiracy tinfoil hat nut jobs on the deep dark corners of the interwebs. It's been percolating on the web for decades, man, and I think people were discussing Bluebeam before even the internet was a place where you could chat about it. But the whole theory, the Project Bluebeam theory, is that the global elites are going to collaborate with NASA and all these other three-letter agencies, and they're gonna basically establish a totalitarian one world order, one world government, and a new global religion. And this new global religion will be, brought upon by what will be allegedly the Antichrist, but we will see this guy as the new Christ, or this new Messiah will appear in the sky via holograms and some spectacular show that will all be fake. It'll look and feel real. That's the thing about it. It'll look and feel real, but it will be actually holographic. And I think I got the cat coming in here. Hey now. It'll be a holographic experience. And I think I've heard some other more intense kind of versions of it, which I might have a clip for us about it. But essentially, it'll convince all the Christians, all the Jews, all the Muslims, all the Buddhists, everybody that follows a religion will be instantaneously convinced that their religion is nonsense and that this new Messiah, who is really the Antichrist, this is the new thing that we all got to get behind and follow, form the new world order, and then ultimately, this will usher in our enslavement by the powers that be. I believe that's the general gist of it, and if I am not mistaken, I might have saved this for myself. I did, yeah. I don't know how old this is. I feel like this is a couple months old or so, possibly. But Joe Rogan had a fella on his show that kind of gave maybe a more concise and clear and potentially even more modern and updated version of the Project Bluebeam concept. And so I think, it's a quick one. We'll toss it on. It'll be a nice little cap to the whole idea of what I think they're preparing for with this Ari Loeb guy and his dire warning that this intergalactic Kegger space rock is actually a spaceship ushering in the end of humanity. I think he's just planting the seeds for the Project Bluebeam. Let's give a gander here.
Bluebeam is supposed to get rid of religion, because what will happen, according to the legend, is the holograms will manifest as whatever deity is dominant in the area, whether it's Jesus or Buddha, whomever. And atheists will see different things. And people will just freak out. Nationalism will go away.
Atheists will see different things. Like, why?
Because, according to the legend, the array or the technology will manipulate your mind. Like,
yeah, all right, man. We're dipping into like harp, elf technology, frequency wave stuff, man. And this is what I've been talking about for a long time, which is I firmly believe with the 5G towers, the 5G tech, the little devices in our hands, the devices in every room of our house. We got smart TVs, we got smart dishwashers, we have smart refrigerators, our coffee makers are smart now. Everything has some sort of smart chip in it. I guarantee all these devices have the ability to emit frequency waves that could most probably likely perform some sort of like MK Ultra chaos level mind control manipulation situation in your specific brain. I'm willing to bet the CIA or the NSA or whatever three-letter agencies behind all this crap, or DARPA, they probably know each person's individual frequency wave and can tune their frequency wave device specifically to that one person just to manipulate that one person in a room filled with people. I can only assume, right? You got to at this point imagine. I mean, they were showing us the heart attack gun in 1977, the heart attack gun. A bullet with shellfish. It's a bullet made with shellfish casing, so that way when the bullet hits you and gives you the poison to give you the heart attack, the shellfish stuff like just disappears into your bloodstream, so they don't even have like a bullet to that was the 70s, man, that they were making guns like that. So the frequency stuff right now is out of control, and they could probably pinpoint. Right now, I got like 10 devices all around me. They're probably just zapping me left and right. I'm not even actually talking right now. This is the government right now speaking in this moment.
Again, HAARP has been accused of this because you can manipulate someone's mind with electromagnetic frequencies at the right frequencies. So they could just tell you to see something.
So like that specific?
That's specific.
Allegedly.
Now, I debunk a lot of it because the story originally came from a Canadian journalist named Serge Manasse, fascinating figure. He comes out with this theory that's bonkers, and then the Canadian government takes his kids away because they're homeschooled. He gets harassed by authorities.
Okay, so I was a little off. I called him French. He was French-Canadian, which is so much worse, man. I think I'd rather just be French, right? But you throw in the Canadian, not to besmirch our Canadian brethren out there. I think we got one guy out there in Alberta or something listening to us. We appreciate it. Thank you. We love the Canadians, just not the Canadian government, right? We're anti-Trudeau Castro here on the Dude Man podcast.
He gets hauled off to jail for spreading disinformation, dies of a heart attack the next day. So then, of course, that
heart attack on anyone? Come on, man.
That's just like, pew, that lights the fuse. And I was like, what did he find? So, and he talked very publicly about all of this. So that's supposedly how it happens, is they manipulate our minds, they show us what we want to see, and then it's not like we won't resist authority. We'll beg for it. We'll just beg to take our freedom, take our rights, keep us safe.
Whoa,
dude. My favorite Joe Rogan line of all time. And the best part about that is what Klaus Schwab and the World Economic Forum clowns have been saying for a long time, which is whatever cataclysm or world-shattering event occurs, we, the people, will be begging for the government institutions to save us, to put us under their wing and protect us. And so maybe it's a cyber attack, the grid goes down, the water supply is disrupted, aliens attack, fake anti-holographic Christ that we're only seeing in our own minds, right? Like, sure, it's all there for us, man. It's going to happen. We got to be prepared somehow, right? I don't know how, but prepare yourself for the fake, alien, individual, mind manipulation, frequency zap invasion. All right, it's coming, people. Brace yourselves. Yeah, Project Bluebeam. Good times, man. Good times. I'm excited to see it unfold. I'm hoping maybe I have a strong enough mind to withstand the power of the frequencies. And just, I'd like to see all the zombies zombifying out to whatever spectacular event they're seeing take place. I can only assume, though, with the fake alien invasion or Project Bluebeam or whatever they're going to do, there will be some sort of upheaval, explosions. There's going to be something, man. They got to do something to disrupt the natural, course of events. Kind of put us in our place, lock us down. We'll need another lockdown, man. Even though we never had one to begin with, according to Tony Fauci, it was a put down, a push down, a tamp down, a refrain down, a down, a brown down, something down, but not a lockdown. Certainly not a lockdown. Well, I'm glad I got that out of the way. Project Bluebeam. We're covering all our conspiracy grounds here. Just because there's a lot going on in the news. I know that currently, and this has the potential. I mean, this could be, the historians may look back on this moment 50 years from now, 100 years from now, and it could be like what started the Civil War. I don't know what kick-started the Civil War. I don't remember in school what they taught us, what the shot heard around the world was for the Civil War to start. But I think this might be it for our new Civil War, Trump versus Pritzker, political feud that could trigger a major national crisis. Oh, yeah, baby. And I'm not going to go too into the mud on this one, only because I don't have any details. I need DJ Rodfather himself here to give me the boots on the ground lowdown on what's happening on the scene in Chicago. He's downtown, man. He knows, he sees it. He's experiencing whatever the response is. And I can only presume there's going to be some sort of no kings style protest, and they're going to march against ICE. And do we still hate ICE? Is this still about ICE, actually? Now I'm kind of confused now. It seems like they can't really stick with who they're against. And here's the thing. So I was showing the CNN article. And I know it's about sending the National Guard to protect the streets of Chicago. But for some reason, in this article and some of the others I went through, they just show like a picture of the Mexican flag and immigrant families and immigrant protesters. And I think they're just trying to rope everything that enrages people. They're getting it all in as much as they can so they can just wrangle everyone downtown and just get some violence happening. You get the stacks of bricks, right, on the pallets, indiscriminately at various corners. Get your anti-immigration ICE people. We need like one of the cops shooting, we need like a George Floyd situation. If that happened, then you could bring in some BLM protesters. You get the immigrant protesters, anti-ICE, pro-BLM, anti-cops, we'll bring the trannies in. Let's just bring in the trannies. They always kind of show up, actually, now that I think about it. You bring in the LG, BLT sandwich people, get all those people together. You got your stacks of bricks. You get them all enraged. Call in Maxine Waters to shout some expletives into a microphone, and then there you have it. You'll have Summer of Love Part 2, Electric Boogaloo, here in 2025. And then that violence riles up. You got Trump's goons now, his National Guard there, his SS guards, right? They're there now, ready to respond. So it's a perfect, the tinder is set. It's ready to light, man. We're ready to explode here. This is a powder keg, an intergalactic powder kegger, if you will. That's what we have going on in Chicago right now. The best part about the whole thing, though, was J.B. Pritzker doing a bunch of videos and talking big talk and big time smack, and he just had the Trump Tower right behind him, which, I don't know if he thought that this was going to kind of play badly to Trump or mock him on some level, but really it just kind of looks like Trump is just overpowering J.B. Pritzker. Like, Trump stands defiant and triumphant over this tiny, stout, chubby little billionaire who's had the world gift wrapped and given to him. Not that Trump hasn't either. In fact, I mean, Pritzker and Trump, they're kind of the same guy, actually, when you really think about it. Rich families, both dudes probably didn't really struggle very much in their lives. Probably both womanizers, I can only imagine. So, in fact, I'm going to say it right now. JB, bring it on for 2028. Let's do Trump again. Trump versus Pritzker. This would be a fun matchup. Battle of the blowhard billionaires, man. I think we could all get down with this, although I don't see Trump doing it, which could open the door for a really unique election in 2028. I don't think anyone's really been discussing this, but we could have a JD versus JB, which is pretty strange. Have we ever had two initial guys going at each other? I can't think of the last initial president. Have we had it was FDR, but that kind of just seemed like a shortened way to refer to him at the time and then both historically. If you don't want to keep saying Franklin and already the middle name's a curveball. Delano? Like, what? Who names their kid Delano, man? And I don't even know if I'm pronouncing Delano right. It just feels right. So I'm rolling with Delano. Saying Franklin Delano Roosevelt over and over again. Or, you know what? And I'm thinking this from like the newspaper era. They didn't have spell check back in those days. I mean, they're typing everything out full go. So, and he was president for like 16 years. How many terms did FDR win, man? At least 3, right? He did at least 3 from what I recall. So you're talking 12 years, man, of writing Franklin Delano Roosevelt on the frickin' typewriter, man. No, get out of here. Fuck that. We're going FDR for the next 8 years or whenever they decided to do it. And then hindsight, historians, clearly FDR, way easier than the whole Delano debacle. Same thing with JFK, but I don't remember us actually having initial guys going at it, So this could be a fun time for us all, or at least maybe this is just a sign of the times. As in, we are now fully in idiocracy. We don't even have politicians with full names running against each other anymore because we're too stupid to spell it all out. No. Give me J.D. Vance versus J.B. Pritzker. That's so much easier for all of us idiots out here to talk about, to write. Perfect. Go with the initials. That's where we're at. So I look forward to J.B. versus J.D. and the lack of pronunciation that we have in store for us in 2028. Yeah, man. Well, that was quite the tangent there. I had some other stuff to get to, and I'm rolling out of time. I promised the cats I would keep it short. I got some chilling to do with the kitties out in the yard. Actually, the yard's soaking wet now because it's been raining nonstop. So probably just call it quits on the couch for the rest of the evening. Before that, though, I think I do want to go out with one story that really got missed by everybody. I don't understand why nobody thought this was interesting or fun, and maybe, just maybe, there is something in this story that we shall see crop up down the ways in future times. And what I'm talking about is a subplot of a story that occurred last week or a week and a half ago when Putin came to town and met up with Trump on the tarmac. I'm a full-on believer that was neither actually Putin or Trump. I think those are both body doubles. I fully believe that theory at this point. But regardless of the body double scenario playing out there at the tarmac, while that was going on, something simultaneously was occurring between Putin and a random Alaska guy, and this could potentially be story of the year.
An Alaskan man says he received a surprise gift last week from Russian President Vladimir Putin. That gift came after an interaction that he had with a group of people 2 weeks prior. They asked him about the motorcycle that he was riding, a model named for a mountain range that runs through a section of Russia. Georgina Fernandez has the story.
I thought it was a hoax.
It's been a question of why.
Because they don't know me, I don't know them.
For days now. After Bird Creek resident Mark Warren was given this new Ural motorcycle from Russian President Vladimir Putin.
Excuse me?
Yeah, man. Putin too. Did you guys catch that? Did everyone catch that out there? I've been talking about this for a while now, and we've just haven't fortunately caught a clip of it. But I think this is more of an overseas European, Euro-style way of pronouncing Putin's last name, but they do the Putin, which I find to be very humorous. So let's keep your ears peeled for the Putin.
Cycle from Russian President Vladimir Putin following the summit last week. This letter here from the Embassy of the Russian Federation in the U.S., calling it an act of giving with no explanation as to why.
It's so absolutely astronomically random that it was hard for me to understand why this happens.
Don't let this simple yokel focal from Alaska with that silver mustache of his, that simple, unassuming mustache, don't let him fool you, people. This guy's a Russian asset. I'm calling it right now. And that motorcycle he got, that is the nuke bomb that will bring down America. That's my prediction here.
In fact, I still don't know why.
The story, though, with Warren and the bike starts more than a week before the summit, after he says Russian state journalists initially made contact with him while he was riding his own Ural motorcycle through downtown Anchorage.
And that they were interested in why I had the bike and what I was doing. It was purely just information about the bike, why I bought it, and about what I did to fix it up.
Days later, he says the journalist called him saying their story went viral. Then more days pass and another call came.
We want to give you a bike, a new motorcycle, a new Ural, and that it was on base. And I said, call me when it's off base. Because at this point, I just felt this is so random and so strange that I felt apprehensive about this being actually really going to happen.
Warren and his wife later meeting up with Russian embassy.
And his name is Warren, too, man. This guy's classic. I love everything about this dude. And who owns a Ural motorcycle? I mean, this guy, give him the Medal of Freedom, Trump, already. Just give it to him.
Consulates and members of the media to receive the bike.
Did you ever have any second guesses of maybe I should not accept this gift?
No.
Why so?
I don't think it... If I was accepting this gift for some nefarious purpose, or for some favor, or something else that I had to do to interact with them, I would definitely not do it.
The reason, though, why he was chosen,
but this was just a purely random act,
is still unclear.
Yeah, all right, man. I love this story. Now, I definitely believe there's got to be spyware or tracking of some sort with this motorcycle, or like a dirty nuke. Don't we have what happened to the dirty nukes, the suit nukes, the snook nuke, right? Didn't we used to have a threat warning for Russia sneaking a nuke in somewhere. This could be the nuke, man. Maybe they just snuck it in on the Ural motorcycle, man. And this unassuming, simple guy named Warren gladly accepted it, man. He's like, yeah, I'll take your nuke bike. All right, man. Take a trip down to Washington in a few weeks. Yeah, all right. See, Putin's not such a bad guy. He gets such an awful rap with the media. He's doing interviews with Tucker Carlson, and he's not selling GMO vegetables in his grocery stores to his own people, right? And he's He's giving out motorcycle gifts to Americans. Man, sounds a lot better than some of our leaders. I'd rather hang out with Putin than Lindsey Graham, right? Right? I don't know. I hear Lindsey Graham's pretty nice, actually. Lady G, yeah. Wow, great story. See, even in times of war, we can have moments of giving and love and acceptance. So this is a good, happy story to end out on. I'm thrilled that this guy Warren's having a good time on his motorcycle there in Alaska. And, Putin's body double and the Trump body double, they looked absolutely thrilled to be meeting each other on the tarmac. And it seems like they had a good time hanging out, chit-chatting in the limousine. And, did we get peace? Did anything happen or change with Russia and Ukraine? I really don't think so. I'm pretty sure both sides have just been drone striking each other ever since that tarmac meeting. And I know the EU needs boots on the ground in order to save their economy. That's, Germany, the UK, France, they all are desperate for World War III just strictly to save their economy. That's it. So they're going to make it happen one way or another. We could all just assume everybody's just waiting for Trump to finish out this little small moment of peace, right? He'll get his Nobel Peace Prize. We'll hold off all the wars and the World War III for a couple years, crank up the stockpiles, and then when Trump's out and we culminate the JD versus JB extravaganza, one of the J's will be in there. We'll kickstart World War III, usher in the New World Order. We'll poison the rest like bugs with our mRNA Aerovax sprays and chemtrails, and then we can break away in our society and have the AI robots take care of us for the rest of our lives while we live to infinity because we have all the medicines we need, right? Is that what's happening? Am I clear on that one? I think so, right? Well, all right. As long as I live long enough to see Travis Kelce propose to Taylor Swift at the Super Bowl. What's that? Oh, that's right. Mike's prediction is wrong again. We'll cover that story when we come back next week. Not here on Sunday, folks. Believe it or not, we're taking a break, a Sunday break. I will be in Washington State, east of Seattle, doing a little fishing on the river, on a lake, hanging out at a cabin, playing guitars and drinking beers and having a good old time with the fellas. I'll be back on Monday, Labor Day, and then we'll see. I think I'll probably do another Tuesday gig. Maybe DJ Rodfather will be around to join us and have a grand old time with the good times and the great oldies. I want to thank everybody for hanging out, and we will be back on, I'm going to say Tuesday. I'm going to stick with Tuesday. I might not have anything to talk about other than the fishing trip, but we'll come back on Tuesday, check in on World War III or whatever drone stuff is going on, and I'm sure I'll have an update on what's going on with the geoengineering. Thanks again for hanging out. I hope everybody has a great rest of their week. Enjoy your Labor Day weekend. Hopefully everybody can get that extra day off, get some sunshine, maybe between the chemtrails, you get a little shine coming in, the vitamin D. We can only hope, right? Well, till then, and you know what? This is the craziest part about this today. I always have DJ Rodfather here. No DJ Rodfather today. Pretty unbelievable. But that's all right. I got my own DJ apparatus here. I think I can pull something out. We will be back next week. Have a great weekend. See you then, folks. Yeah!